Hey guys, it's Stephanie from empoweredroots.com and Red Shoe Rising on Facebook. I'm coming today with like a spontaneous kind of recording. I just wanted to share some beauty with you. And I hope that you are in a space of new beginnings. We're in the new moon energy right now, which is why I'm out here in this beautiful space. I say I'm coming to church because my church is in the Holy Wild. It's where I receive all the things. It's a very special and sacred space to me. I come here when I need renewal, just to be, to connect with nature, to receive nourishment, to be still, like all these really beautiful healing things that I experience here. And just reconnecting to that beautiful space of our intimate connections with nature and the earth and all the creatures. You can probably hear the birds singing. It's just a beautiful space that I really enjoy. It's my church. And this beautiful oak behind me, I call her Mama Oak. She has given me so many beautiful things. And I've created a circle here, a sacred space. For different reasons, but I wanted to share this space with you today, and kind of talk a little bit about the new moon. So as you can see, I'm like partially blinded because I'm facing the east. It's still pretty early, and I'm facing the east, which is the direction of new beginnings, the spring, the new moon, all that beautiful like. Planting time. This is like a really exciting time for me. Our new moon right now is in Aries, so this is like a really strong, like fiery growth intention type of energy that is right now. I probably really resonate with this because my moon is in Aries, but I really wanted to share a little bit about that with you if you're interested. The new moon, this is like a really, really potent new moon, which is kind of why I wanted to share a little bit, because it's falling where we have this really vibrant, like primal Aries energy. And this is the new moon. It's also spring. I'm facing the east. It's the perfect time for planting seeds. Planting the seeds that we want to grow in our lives. And kind of where we want to go. And sometimes it's good to just be and just really contemplate that. This isn't really the time for like action, like constant action. That new moon energy is the time when we really like sit in contemplation and we really allow ourselves to receive internal guidance or guidance from source or nature or however you may identify that, but connecting with our own wisdom and what we really want to create in our lives. And this is the most beautiful time that I really, really love. So in saying that, this is the time where it's a nice match of, I use this in my own life so much as a guide and with clients. It's a really like deep connection to nature, to Mother Earth, to the cycles and seasons of our lives, the lunar cycles, the solar seasons. And this is a really beautiful time when the lunar season of the new moon kind of matches up with that beautiful solar spring energy and the time where everything is growing. And today when I came out here, there's new wildflowers coming up. It's just such a beautiful time of year that I love so much. So this is a time when it's really good to use those like solar and lunar energies and to plant the seeds of our intentions of what we would like to manifest in the coming cycle, moon cycles, and then also moving into the summer, which is really like a harvest season, and then also into like the fall and autumn, and kind of creating like some structures and some intentions and some seeds for what that could really look like. And I've been thinking so deeply about this. And also, what I really love about this space is it's so much a reminder of our connection to those natural seasons and cycles. And what really always comes up for me, because like many of us, I tend to try to rush the process, and I'm a little bit impatient when it comes to like creating those things. And sitting here, I'm so much reminded of how much we are intimately connected. We're not separate from nature or the way that nature works. We are nature, it's innately who we are. And so, as we're planting those seeds, we have to allow the processes that need to happen to build those foundations. Um, to not rush, we have this tendency to want to rush the process, to deny the process and demand perfection. And society many times encourages us to do that, to demand perfection and instant gratification and creation and constant action. But we really, it's so important from the feminine perspective, and really that feminine power perspective, to get back in touch with the cycles of who we are, the ebb and flow of creativity and creation and intuition, and all those really beautiful things that can help guide us. And I'm reminded of that as I sit here, and I'm kind of thinking about my intentions, especially right now as I'm kind of restructuring some of the things in my business and in my life, and really thinking about how I can be of greater service and um, help more women or people, and kind of be more authentically myself, to share more of what I really would like to offer into the world, and maybe provide some encouragement or inspiration. And so this has been really, really significant for me. And maybe some of you guys are also kind of going through some of those phases. There's a lot of changes happening right now in the world and our lives, and there has been for a long time. There's a lot of shifts happening. So this is such a beautiful time for those things. And I always come back to this space, especially when I feel myself becoming anxious or trying to rush the process, or to kind of be like a little critical of myself for not like getting there when I want to, or whatever that is. And I come back here because so much of what I've learned on my own transformational journey since I was a child, and also the work that I do with women. And if you've read any of my writings, you know that there's like such a strong nature, earth, feminine connection to transformation, and in my own journey also. And this has been a space that has been so beautiful to me. And I think each of us have the ability to find those spaces when we're really challenged in our lives, or we're really wanting to move forward and we just don't exactly know what that might look like. So, and I'll share a little story with you about how kind of that has been, how that's been something for me, because when I was going through really deep transitions in my life, especially when I was moving away from a very traditional career path that I had been building for almost 20 years, and kind of decided to go in a different, more holistic, more feminine, more authentic direction for me, um, I started getting these inner callings to just like come here and come here. And I would almost want to run here. It would be so sensory to just want to come here and connect and receive that wisdom and those lessons. And every time I come, I receive some type of lesson, whether I'm working or just sitting or just walking or something. But there was a specific time, a specific lesson that is so very meaningful for me. And maybe you might identify in that way. There was a time when I was very challenged with working through some inner wounding and inner challenges that came up as I was making different decisions, as I was taking risk, as I was like taking really big, bold steps in my life, and deciding that I get to create what I want to. I don't have to live by all these other standards that don't feel authentic. And I would come here, and when I was really challenged, and I would just sit, meditate, write, or I have a hammock that I hang from this tree, and sometimes I would like just take a nap out here. Wild animals and things would show up. It was pretty interesting. But there was a day when I was really challenged, and so I kind of came just here, and I put my back up against a tree, and I was just kind of thinking about what I was really going through, and regard to some old beliefs having to do with caretaking and different things that I learned when I was a child. And I was just kind of listening for guidance. And I kind of leaned there, and there was dappled sun coming through the leaves, and just kind of allowed them to warm my face. And I remember there was almost like a sense of comfort, but also I began to cry. It was almost like connecting with a really nurturing mother energy that I experience always when I'm here or in nature. And I was just asking for some guidance. And I remember I kind of just placed my hands on the ground, just receiving that rhythm and that energy of the earth. And I felt underneath my hand this little thing, and I picked it up, and it was a little acorn. And I was kind of like laughing at the same time that I was crying, because it was almost it was a direct answer to what I was really being challenged with, which is really relevant to right now in our lives also, in the new moon, in the spring, and the things that are changing in our world. That I looked and I, said, oh, this little thing, it seems so small and insignificant, but it's the seed, all the potential, everything that it will become is in this little seed that grows into this amazing, ancient powerhouse oak behind me. I wish I could share the immensity of it with you. This tree is probably close to 200 years old. It's enormous. But it took a long time to get there. There was a process that all was held in the potential of this little acorn, just like the seeds within us, our intentions, the focus of our intentions and attention that aligns with our heart and soul and what we are able to create in our lives. And I've mentioned before, my mentoring program is called Empowered Roots for this reason, much for this reason. It's based on some very specific feminine power principles that I've really learned much in my connection with healing and transformation in nature, and allowing myself to receive some of that wisdom. And that's what it's about. It's about creating empowered roots, empowering roots, because we can't grow into that mighty oak until we do that, or if we don't do that. And we have this way of being, many women especially, many people do, but women, I've noticed, and myself particularly, struggle with this concept sometimes, because we want to grow and expand and become this immense thing, and which truthfully nourishes everything around it. It provides shade. Animals nest in it. It provides acorns and food for wildlife, and it becomes this immense ancient thing that will outlive all of us. But what sometimes is lacking, kind of within ourselves. Oh, there was just a big caterpillar climbing on me. Amazing. As a symbol of transformation. caterpillar, butterfly. So cool. Um, what we sometimes neglect, and which I've really struggled with in my life, is creating those really strong roots. What that means is that we have to allow ourselves, we have to give ourselves permission to nurture ourselves, to be nourished and nurtured, to go into the dark and uproot some of those things that are blocking us or preventing us from really moving forward and creating our intentions or what we really want. And that's like that deep, rich, fertile soil of the earth where there's darkness and there's space for replenishment and nourishment and receiving the things that nourish us. Oaks are never. This caterpillar's not giving up on me, y'all. Like he's for real about it. Um, you can't nest here, little guy. So um, it's about really allowing ourselves that permission that we need to build strong roots. This means creating those strong tap roots, those nourishing roots of our beliefs and what we feel like we have a right to as human beings, as women, regardless of what our roles are, regardless of what we're doing in life, but just who we are as a part of nature and creation. And building those really firm, strong beliefs. And then in doing that, anything that is not in alignment with those is going to be uprooted. It's uprooting those things that don't serve that nourishment, don't serve that nutrients that we need to grow into these powerhouse women in whatever way that that means to us, and to be able to create the things that we really want to. And I really want you to consider that because it's something that I've really struggled with. Especially, I had a lot of characteristics with caretaking and really like giving from an empty cup all the time. And a lot of these things that we, are so used to doing, but what they do is they prolong the process of healing, transformation, creation, and they create suffering because we're trying to nurture others or caretake others or do these things from a place of an empty cup. And we're all familiar with that term. Like, you can't do that. You can't just scrape it and scrape it. You have to give and offer and care from an overflowing, beautiful, full, abundant cup, whatever that might mean for you. And even when it comes to caretaking children, obviously they're dependent on on you as an adult. So that is very important, but that does not dismiss the need for you to have your own cup full. And for any other caretaking that might be happening, we really have to look at that as we're looking at this new moon, our intentions, what we want to create. Really looking at the habits and behaviors that and the beliefs and why we maybe do some of these things, of how this may be really preventing us from actually creating those things that we really want. And we kind of know when that's happening, when we feel burnout and frustrated and resentful. And those are our feelings, our emotions that are coming up. That's that embodiment, that beautiful wisdom that the body gives us, that something is out of balance here. And it's really coming up because it's asking for us to look at it, to love it, to heal it, to transform it, to release it, so that we can create those other things. And sometimes we have, again, we kind of resist a lot of the uncomfortable things. And so we kind of try to push it down or repress it, or, maybe we kind of project it onto things around us. But the truth is that it really is just asking for us to look at it, to love it, to maybe transform some of those things, or offer ourselves more nurturing and nourishment and self-love. any challenging stuff that's coming up, it's asking for self-love. It's asking for compassion, because even the most challenging of those beliefs and emotions or traumas or experiences, they um, they really require compassion, a space for compassion, whether that's allowing yourself that space, or um, seeking out some other spaces with, therapy or healers or mentors or coaches or supportive family or friends, whatever that looks like for you, whatever you feel like is right. Um, but to really allow those things to flow through and be processed, so that we can begin to grow and really anchor those stronger, healthier, empowered belief systems and ways of being into our inner being, which then manifest in our lives. And then to allow those other things that are not necessary for us anymore. Maybe they once protected us, or maybe they once were quite vital for survival in some way. But allowing those things to drop away, and understanding um, that those things that die away, they create fertilizer um, for the new things that you'll create, because energy is never lost. It's only shifted, transformed to other things. So whatever you're letting go of, whatever emotions, whatever experiences, or ways of being, or traumas, or anything that we're letting go of, there is a shadow and a dark space of that, which I work with in my mentoring program. I do shadow sessions in the waning moon, and that's what that space is for. And then as we move into the new moon and then the waxing moon, is where we start to increase the light, and that's where that growth happens and that transformation, and that's where we receive our gifts and the power of those um transformations, which is so funny, because I connect really heavily with animals in different ways. And I kept seeing vultures this morning, which vultures are quite sacred to me, and really beautiful, even though we sometimes don't view them in that way. But they have a very, very important place in nature. And the wisdom of the vulture is that, they're the purifiers. They clean up everything um, that's dead or dying, or needs to go away, and it's transformed into something that it really helps the environment as a whole. And what they're doing is they're like cleaning up all the dead stuff, so that life can be and exist. And it's that idea, the wisdom and the medicine of vultures is that idea that there are natural seasons and cycles of life, death, rebirth in our lives, within ourselves, our healing, our transformation, literally in our lives, with birth and death and those type of things. And that we can't deny those natural processes. And it's so beautiful to learn to move into that ebb and flow and to work with them. And what dies away there's a purpose for it. It creates fertilization for those things that you want to create. It's transformed. They become like talisman that you carry with you, that, man, even if and I'm not saying that any of those things are easy, and they don't pose significant challenges, very, very deep challenges in many ways. But as they heal and transform, and we gain that strength and empowerment, it creates this foundation where they become like talisman. They're like power talisman that we carry with us throughout our whole lives, in whatever situations that we're in. And it's such a continuing cycle. And we never stop learning or growing. There are areas, as I've mentioned before, that we really master. And over time, and revisiting and transforming, we really master certain areas. And then there's many other areas that then reveal themselves and call us to really look at them, and offer them what they need. And I think that's part of like the beautiful, that's just the beautiful thing about that whole process, and why I guess which I probably didn't always realize that all the experiences I've had in my life, many of them have been exceptionally challenging. Um, they were preparing me to do certain things in this world that really would come from the heart and soul. And that's why this whole idea of transformation and healing and returning to empowerment and our connection, our intimate connection with all things, is so it infiltrates everything that I do. Um, and it's my passion because it's everything to me. Um, because it's such a beautiful process, even in some of those really dark spaces and the shadow work and healing that has to happen, really deep and challenging emotions and things like that. But this is where we come to this space when we move through some of those shadows in the waning moon, in the waning phases of our lives, in the winters of our lives. We come back to this beautiful space of new moon energy, intentions, planting seeds, and creating focused attention, intention, affirmations, incantations, invocations, however you may label them, that we can really like ingrain in ourselves throughout this process, and just the trust and surrendering to those intentions, not trying to force them to be something that they need to be before they're ready, but really just focusing on it, and taking those intuitive actions when we feel called to, but understanding that everything is okay the way it is right now. We don't need to rush the process or even, I'm incredibly impatient at times. So this has actually been one of the biggest challenges for me in my life. Of not trying to like rush the process or always be going and acting and doing, which is it's a very masculine approach, a very linear masculine approach, which has its place and is important in certain areas, because we do need to do those things at times. But there has to be a balance of that really that active, fiery masculine energy, and then that receptive, intuitive, feminine energy within ourselves. And I'm not referring to gender here, the energy and essence of those things just as are in nature. And so I really just felt like I wanted to share that with you, because I'm so man, it's such a beautiful space today. And with all the birds and things, it's like, oh, it's my heart and home. And so maybe you're kind of thinking through some of those things. And maybe we could do, if you want to, and if you feel called to, to do a quick body check-in, to kind of connect with the body, the feminine, the wisdom, that intuition, feeling, emotion. And maybe we'll just do a little practice right now, that you can do later. Maybe you'll replay it, or you could do right now. So thinking about how you connect, I always connect heart and womb. One hand on heart, one hand on womb. And so maybe we could just do a quick little practice that you can also use any other time. It kind of helps to ground you and bring you back into the wisdom of the body and what you're needing. It's just a good like embodiment practice that really connects us back to that space. So if you want to just take a minute to kind of like ground in, you can sit somewhere or lie somewhere or wherever you're at. Really, it doesn't really matter. But to kind of just place your hands in whatever position you feel called to, comfortable. Could be heart, could be womb, could be just beside you. I like heart and womb. It's a good space to connect with the heart, and also the feminine, creative space of the womb. And just kind of allow yourself to breathe in through the nose slowly all the way to the belly. And then you're going to exhale slowly through the mouth. Try that a few times slowly. Maybe pause at the bottom just to kind of listen to what's going on with the body. Maybe take a couple more of those breaths. And as you're doing that, maybe kind of notice, is there any place in the body that's feeling a little tension? Maybe it feels a little uncomfortable. Anything that you might notice that comes to your attention. And as you breathe into that space, offering it love, oxygen, intention, attention. Allow yourself to notice if anything comes up, and it doesn't have to. We're just kind of noticing. That's how we connect. You know, what's going on with the body? What is it telling me? And as you exhale, you can just kind of return. Just return to the present moment, to the body. Allowing the breath to return to normal pace, however that feels comfortable for you. Notice within the body. Where is your body touching the earth, the ground, something solid? How that feels. And then allowing the space to kind of move up. See if anything comes up for you. Maybe you already have an intention in your mind that you'd like to set. It's a beautiful space to focus in on that with the connection with the heart. Or maybe in this moment, as this new moon energy is here, maybe there's something that you would like to release. Something that you know is not serving you anymore. Something that's old, some old story, some old belief. As you exhale, you can allow that to be released. And just connect. Enjoy the beauty of this moment. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if you've closed them, or just return to the space. That's a simple, small practice that you can do at any time. You can return to it when you notice, some discomfort or something going on with the body or in your life, or just connect to this moment. That this is what we have. This is all that we have, is this moment. In this body, in this beautiful connection to the earth and nature and creation. And, there is time for planning, for intending, for creating, but to always return to the beauty and the magic of this moment that we have in our bodies, in our space. To me, that's most easily done in nature. As this big frog just jumped off this thing over there. But you can really return to that at any moment with, those simple practices like that, or similar ones that maybe you have seen or heard about somewhere else, or whatever feels right for you. But I just wanted to share this space with you, and just share the new moon energies and the spring and new beginnings. And for me, this beautiful sun that's shining. I don't know where you're at or where you may see this. I'm in Central Texas, so it's already extremely warm here, and it's sunny and all the things. So as you kind of move through this energy, I wish you all of the beautiful intentions and healing and transformation and empowerment in those areas where you are really guided to, and planting seeds of the things that you would like to create, because you're so capable and so worthy, and you have so many gifts and things of value that you can offer into the world in your own unique, special way. And I want to remind you of that if no one has reminded you lately, and to also remind yourself of that. So, I love you. I wish you a beautiful Sunday or any other day that you might be watching this, and this beautiful energy and new beginnings and healing and transformation and all of your power, so that you can become this beautiful, amazing powerhouse oak woman, or whatever other, I'm so blinded right now, whatever other things you may identify with. So I wish you all the best. If you would like to check out any of my writings, a lot of them, well, my writings actually move in lunar cycles and solar cycles. They're labeled in that way. And some of the lessons that I kind of have picked up there, and things that have been really challenging and inspiring and healing and transforming to me. And you may find some inspiration or something in them too. If you'd like to check some of those out, you can go over to empoweredroots.com, or you can also join us on Facebook, Red Shoe Rising. And we're building some other resources and things like that too. But you might find something inspirational. Check out what feels right if you're drawn to it, and enjoy your day. I'll see you soon.